Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the D.371 H.S.9, which is a gift vehicle for the new French tech tree. So, on the surface this is a pretty interesting machine. It's got that good manoeuvrability that all of the reserve tier aircraft have, but with two 20mm cannons as well. So, I imagine some people have probably bought it just for those features alone without really trying it themselves. And well, some of you know if you have it or you've tested it, the firing platform is notoriously dreadful. The plane rocks up and down and does all sorts of annoying things when you try and use the guns, so it makes it a very difficult aircraft to use, and coupling that with it being, a gift vehicle you can't buy with Eagles, I don't think it's a very good grinder. And the main reason for this is that because it's not really an easy to use vehicle, it's got a bit of a learning curve with how it performs and how the guns work and how to manage your ammo most effectively. By the time that you've learned that, maybe 5 to maybe 20 games depending on how confident you are with it, you've probably unlocked every vehicle from rank 1 to rank 2, which means when you can use this aircraft to its fullest potential, its efficiency for grinding is gone. So I think if you are looking for a grinder, look no further, don't go for this one. It's not good for that. I mean, you're better off talismaning an aircraft you like in the main tree at tier 1 or tier 2, having a much better and easier time with that. But it's not really fair to say that this vehicle is useless. It certainly isn't. You can have pretty fun time in it, and it is very, very satisfying to blast biplanes out with 1 or 2 shots. But it's not really an aircraft that you can carry games with, and it's not really an aircraft that works well against anything that isn't a biplane, really. I mean, your manoeuvrability isn't too great, so even going up against certain biplanes like the Key 10 and things like that, it's going to give you some trouble. But you are generally going to be okay with the Italian and German ones. So what I've got for the start of this video is a little kind of slideshow of different aspects about this vehicle that I think are important to consider if you have it or you are looking to maybe buy it for yourself. So, to start off with, we've got the ammo count and how that affects certain situations. So, here I've got a BA-63 below me. Now bear in mind that this is an aircraft that isn't really going to have much impact on the outcome of the match. It's probably not going to take out any friendlies or damage the tickets too much. So just trying to find the range there and landing a few hits in, I get a crit, but that's about it, and now I'm down half my ammunition already. So I pitch back up, roll around just to get another shot off to try and take him out. And easily enough, he's not really trying to fight back. I do manage to get a pilot kill there, but I am now down to 6 cannon rounds per gun, and I've taken down 1 aircraft. And on my way back from the base I noticed a CR-32 following me, so I thought, okay, I'll try and deal with him. I fire a few shots warning at the start, and roll to the left and come back round on him. At this point I realise he's not a very confident player and he's probably very new. So roll back round, take another shot, get a hit. Now I only have a few rounds left, and I miss all of them. And even if I was in the regular D.371, he would be dead. So, the next thing we've got is the problem with bombers. These guns are very, very ineffective against them, and that leads to a lot of situations being nearly unwinnable for you because of that. So, and granted my aim isn't perfect for every shot, but notice the amount of sparks I have on this plane and the lack of damage I actually do to him, and just by sitting on the tail there for a few seconds I've taken 1 hit and it's redded my engine out. And already I'm down to nearly, 10 rounds left per gun. And with all of those shots, I don't get a crit, I don't kill any gunners, and it's just a massive waste of time to bother going after a bomber like that. But there are some positives. The main thing you're going to want to target are the biplanes, because they're so fragile and they're so weak, that if you can just get 1 jump on them with the stealth, you're not going to need to take more than 1 or 2 hits to actually take them out. Like here, just like that, 2 shots per gun, and you've knocked out a target like that. And he's not fighting back, granted, but if that's the situation you can put yourself in, you're going to get a lot of kills like that. So with the attacker here, again, he's not fighting back, just get the lead in, a few more shots, and knock out the pilot as well. So the guns are very good like that, but they are a little bit unreliable. So as far as maneuverability goes, it's not bad at all. The most common biplanes you're going to see you can deal with pretty effectively. This thing has decent energy retention for what it is, and even though getting the guns on target in a dogfight isn't the easiest thing to do, it's very possible, especially once you've drained a target of its energy, and all it takes is a single hit to a vehicle like that to take it out. But you're not always going to be going up against biplanes. You're not always going to be that lucky. So this is a nice little fight that I had with a BF-109 F1, one of the last matches I played, where I was getting a bit more used to the aircraft. So what I did for the majority of this fight, if you are being boom and zoomed like this, is keep your speed relatively high and make sure that you can adjust your angle like this every time. Keep looking up at the target that's trying to boom down on you so you can effectively dodge it. So what I'm doing now is I'm turning back so I can position myself right underneath him and feathering my elevator downwards so I can turn underneath at the right second to make sure he commits to the dive, because I want him to keep booming and zooming until he either bleeds some of his energy off or he starts to get bored and do things a bit sloppily, and that's the main thing you're going to want to watch out for. You're just going to have to keep doing this repetitive dodge of his attacks and just wait. You know, you've got all the time and you are maneuverable enough to most of the time dodge everything he can dish out at you. So if you keep underneath the plane or directly behind it, you can see easily when he's going to try and attack you, and it's going to leave a nice spot open for you to dodge his shots as well. It's coming back round here, and since I'm so low and right underneath him, I can easily just turn underneath like that and there's no way he's going to hit me. And so he's going to boom down and zoom right back up. And just keep repeating this. It's a bit tedious, you know, but it's certainly possible with a plane like this to fight a powerful monoplane like the BF-109. So I'm just sticking behind him again here because I know he's going to have to turn around if he's going to come and shoot me, but I think he's going to go after the bomber. So just sitting in tow with him, I can slightly move my way over towards the bomber so I can get a little bit closer to him when he turns towards it. Just biding my time, you know, like, being how you are, you have all of the time like this. He's the one in the position where he's going to have to instigate a fight. So he's going to be the one who's going to make the first mistake, if he's going to make one at all. So, zooms back up here, and I can just slightly climb to get a bit more altitude on him so I can get a bit more speed if I need it. Waiting for him to just turn around here, and I was a little bit too slow to jink away, so I wanted to see if I can get a shot in the head on. Try and jink away, take a few shots to the rear of the aircraft, but it's nothing too serious whatsoever. He's only hitting me with the MGs now. So now, after dodging that many times, I'm a bit closer to him. I try taking a few shots to kind of panic him a little bit, because if you put pressure on like that, people sometimes do silly things. It's a lot like popping smoke in tank matches. So just gaining a little bit of speed here, just to prepare to follow him if he tries to turn around on me, and he does. Starts turning to the left, and I wait until he's presented a nice little silhouette with his whole aircraft, and while he's in the turn, rattle off a few shots, take off one wing, and take off the other, and that's a pretty reliable way in a biplane, especially one like this that has good energy retention, how to deal with fighters like that. I mean, it's not going to be something you're going to see all the time, but it's certainly something to watch out for, and it's good to go into a situation like that prepared. So here's a match that I want to show you that I had. It was the last match that I played, and it was the match I think that really kind of solidified the fact in my mind that this is not really a great plane. So the combat starts off with a little HU-51 below me. I can easily just slot in on him as he's not really paying much attention. A few little taps and take his wing off. And you can notice there are quite a few bombers on the enemy team. It was still a small match. My team didn't do very well, sadly, but what can you do? Either way, I was left with these two bombers, an attacker and a 109. And I think, first off, the best thing to do is eliminate the fighter threat, which is a 109, and then I've just got the BA-65 and the HU-111 and the BR-20 bomber. So I'm just going to see now which target is going to be worth more of my time. I'm just checking to see if the 1 in 9 pilot's any good, just to see what's the best way of engaging him. Since he's a bit new, I think I can probably just go right there and engage him now. So I'm just going to try and keep myself relatively quick on my way there, because I need the extra speed in the first turn, because if he's probably going to turn with me, and then he's going to try flying away at higher speed, but if I'm going quick enough, I should be able to land some shots on before he does that, so he can't escape and re-engage me where he's in the advantage. So he tries to swoop down and take out the D.371, and he does, sadly. So I just try and put a few shots into the head-on, which has never worked for me so far. I've never landed one of those hits. Follow him up round into the turn, roll myself round, and slot in right on his tail here. And just as he's pulling up a little bit, take the pilot out just like that. So the guns are pretty decent when you are going for planes like that, like fighters. You have enough power to take the wings off the fragile ones and kill the pilots of the other planes like that. So now it's just me left against 2 bombers and an attacker. And the tickets look okay at this point, so I do have time. But it's at this point that I realised just how bad the guns were when taking out bombers. Bombers at this tier at least seem to be easiest taken down with smaller caliber guns that can rip through the plane, hit the critical components like the engine. And all these cannons are really doing to it, being mainly HE, are causing light structural damage. And because bombers are a lot more tougher than the biplanes that we've been shooting before, they're not really going to fall apart as easy, or even close to that. I mean, it's going to be hard to take out the engines as well, because there's no penetration on these rounds, so nothing's going to pass through the back of the plane and set the engines on fire unless I'm shooting from the front or have a good angle from below or above. But that's not always a situation I can force and have a safe time engaging from. So all I'm trying to really do here is try and get lucky and strike him underneath where I'm not going to get hit from his guns. But either way, I'm down to about half my ammunition, a little bit less now, and I start to think that, this isn't really going to go well, is it? So I get lots of little sparks hits and miss quite a few as well, but either way, I'm out of ammunition again. So I have to go back to base, there's no other option, and if I was in one of the other reserve aircraft, I probably would have had a lot more ammunition to at least take an engine down, or at least cripple him so he couldn't land and come back, which is what he's been doing when I've been back at base rearming. So I'm trying to rush for the 111 here because I want to get the pilot kill as he's flying towards me, as that's going to be the only real way I'm going to be able to take him out. But the BA-65 is closing in on me, so I need to just work out which one's going to be the better choice. But the H.111 makes the choice for me when he starts to turn away. So I move back towards the BA-65, wait for him to pitch up, and go right vertical and just roll over his plane like that. And making my elevator go negative there, just so I can increase the distance between us when he turns around, so I can have a longer time on target. Get a few hits, nothing really too serious, but whatever happened to him there might have damaged him enough for him to crash, or it might have just been bad controlling on his part, I'm not sure. Either way, he's down, and it's down to me and the 2 bombers, which are rapidly draining the tickets, or mainly the 111. The BR-20 is still coming back from the base right now. So all I can really do is just tail him and try and take him out. I can't put myself in a position where I can easily hit an engine or hit the cockpit, because he's a lot faster than I am. Well, I can still catch him, but he's too fast for me to really play around with the engagement. I can't really do that. So I just try shooting at him from the back, dodging the guns where I can, and I'm down to 12 rounds. So I think the best option is to go for the BR-20 again here, just because I can try and get that pilot kill with the 6 rounds I have for each gun left. And as the 111's probably down most of his bombs, I might as well try to knock out the fully loaded bomber, and then maybe rearm and get the 111 before he can take out the rest of the targets. So I'm a bit disheartened at this point. I know it's probably not going to go well, and there's no prizes for guessing that it doesn't end too great either. So just try and get a little bit low, account for the drop on the guns, go up, and go right into the cockpit and kill the gunner at the front, and that's all of my ammunition left. And the only other option I've got now is to go back to base and watch as the two other bombers try to take out the rest of the ground targets, and they do. And this match is a loss. And this is when I just sort of sighed and I thought, well, this isn't a machine that's going to win any matches like this. If you're stuck in a situation where you're against bombers like this, or fighters and bombers, you're not going to come out on top, just because you're not going to be able to take out more than one bomber in each flyout unless you're really, really lucky, which is something, again, you can't really account for. You can't prepare for that. So this, in my mind, is not a good plane for grinding, at least. It's a fun plane that you can maybe take out, if you want a bit of a challenge at low tier, or you want to have a little bit of fun just shredding biplanes or something like that. But if it's you against a couple of bombers and a fighter, it's going to take you about 3 or 4 rearms at the airfield before you can take all of them out. And that's not really a recipe for a decent plane. I mean, even the regular D.371 has enough ammunition to take out a fighter and cripple a bomber, at least if you aim for the engines. This thing doesn't have that, and it's also coupled with the fact that the guns themselves are really hard to aim. And again, if you're engaging a bomber, it's going to be shooting at you with, it's not going to have powerful guns like 7.7 still, but because you are a weak aircraft, your engine's just going to die in a couple of hits anyway, so sitting on the tail of a bomber isn't going to do you any favours, and you're not fast enough to engage a plane like that your way. You're going to have to engage it from behind or from the front or from the side. You're not going to be able to really gain some altitude, dive down, speed in front of it and come back round unless you have a lot of time, which you're not really going to have either. So it's not something I'd recommend at all. It's fun to take out fighters, but because it's 1.3 as well, you're going to see a lot of up tiers, and the way this thing kind of works is that if it's a 0.0 to 2.0 game, you're usually going to see a lot of biplanes and a few other higher tier things as well. But as soon as you have a 1.3 to 2.3 game, you're going to be the only, aircraft that's similar to a biplane. Since it's a monoplane, but it's the only thing that really performs like that. Everything else is going to be like a proper monoplane fighter, which is more of a boom and zoom aircraft than a turn fighter, and you're just too slow and too disadvantaged in that situation to really do much. And because the guns are the way they are, I mean, it might look, as you're watching this, you might think that you might have better aim than I do, and maybe you will, sure, but it's a lot more difficult than it looks, just because when you're engaging with someone you're trying to turn fight, you're on the tail of a plane, you need to compensate for, like, if you're in a horizontal turn fight, the horizontal lead, and then the compensation from the airframe rocking up and down to then get your guns on target like that. And you can only lead a few shots as well before you're going to start running out of ammo, and before you know it, half your ammo's gone in a single engagement. And I think the highest amount of kills I got in a single run was 3. I got about 2 or 3 3-kill flyouts, and I got a few kills after that. But so this is a vehicle that put into a 1v3 situation, and the most annoying thing is that these might be aircraft that don't really pose a threat to you. So they could be bombers, attackers, some new players and biplanes or whatever that you can beat, but you just don't have the ammo capacity and the ability to really use your guns effectively enough to win those matches. So that last match that I had before, if I was in an aircraft with more ammunition, I could totally have made more of an impact, but because I didn't, I wasn't equipped to take out bombers, I couldn't really do any damage at all. And it's more of a gimmick aircraft, really. It's not conventional enough to really be useful in most of the situations you're going to find yourself in. And I think the best way to really play this is to just go in quick, go for the newer players who are on the deck, maybe trying to strafe armoured cars or AA or something like that, kill a couple of those guys and rush back to base straight away before the other more powerful aircraft who are climbing are going to dive in and try and take you out. So you do have that window where you can take out a couple of biplanes early on who aren't really going to be climbing, and then you can go back to base and rinse and repeat if you can. And that's really the only way I think this vehicle is going to work the best for you. So Just because it lacks versatility, I think I'm going to rate it a 5 out of 10. Right, thank you for watching. This has been a bit of an annoying video to put together just because I didn't really have any games that were, complete enough to show every aspect of the vehicle correctly, so I just had to pick little parts from each one, because you're not going to be in combat for very long. You're going to kill 1 or 2 planes and then that's it. To go back to base and rearm. So it was difficult to put footage together for. So I apologise, this video's been a bit kind of mismatched, but I hope I got the point across. And if I didn't get the point across, let me know why, because I'm always trying to improve, and I'm aware that this video is a little bit off kilter, I guess. So if anything stood out to you as being wrong with it, please let me know so I can kind of consider it for next time if I ever run into a vehicle like this. If there's any better way of structuring it, or one that you'd find a little bit easier to kind of process, because it was a bit kind of all over the place, so sorry about that. But either way, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.